That's
Uh,
okay.
okay, this speech is on the rights of nature, and I'd like to introduce our speaker, Shumaba Bonapathy. Shumaba works with the rights of nature as an assistant professor, where she works in the School of Law, Forensic Justice, and Public Policy at the National Forensic Sciences University in Delhi. She also works with the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, where she has been a facilitator for their Asia Pacific hub for the past 6 years. Uh, Additionally, she teaches and writes on the rights of nature specifically, currently with 3 books to her credit and multiple articles. In addition to that work, she's a transgender rights activist in India and has also worked at the University of Montreal as an Indo-Canadian Shastri Mitox research scholar. All right, welcome, Shumaba.
Thank you so much, Jared. It's such a pleasure to be amongst all of you and to get this space in the Festival of Revolutions, and that itself defines the work that we at Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature we indulge in. It's just not about revolution that we are working for. It's about the conscience building and developing that we try to do through our work across the world. So, in today's talk, what I have decided is that I will give a little bit of brief on rights of nature, because I would still say, even though it's been more than 30, 40 years that rights of nature is, we are working on rights of nature, it's still fairly young, and it's ever evolving. So, just a little bit of brief introduction to rights of nature is what I would like to do first. Then I would move on to the working of GARN, Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, which I'm representing today in this forum. And then specifically to the work that we are doing in Asia Pacific, as I am the facilitator of the Asia Pacific hub of GARN. So this is how roughly I have divided my presentation today. And if you want, you can pop in, you can ask questions, and I will be more than happy to answer some of them, maybe while I am discussing whatever I've thought, and then also later after the presentation, I can take up some of the questions. So as you see that what I'm talking about today is on rights of nature, GARN, and the work of Asia Pacific, as I said. So to really begin with, I thought that let's just start by looking at this international development. Because what is it that I'm talking to you about if there is no edifice or no foundation, or if we don't have something in front of us? This is a data that you see. And this, I will say, is comparatively unupdated. And I purposely kept it like that to show to you that till 2021, this is the magnanimity of the work on rights of nature that we have across the world through different ways. As you see, the different colors denote the different kind of engagements in rights of nature. And from 2021 to 2026 today, the work has just expanded. And in order to tap that, in order to again have a document, because quantitative document always speaks volumes about the work that we do, this is what we have as the most recent tracker, as we say. This has been developed by the academic hub of GARN, and this is known as the Eco Jurisprudence Monitor. And this is just a screenshot of the landing page of Eco Jurisprudence Monitor. You can find it on Google. And this is that interactive website where you can see all the different pockets in the world where some sort of initiative has happened on rights of nature. And as you see that there could be some countries where we have more than 25 initiatives that have happened. There could be countries where maybe just one initiative or two initiatives have happened, but everything has been recorded. So what we speak today, or the work that we do today, is not new, number one. It is not something where it's utopia. It is something where we have seen the change happening, where we see the difference. And that is what we believe in, and that's what we are working and striving each every day when we do this work. So, what is rights of nature and when did it begin? So, rights of nature, as it comes with the word rights itself, you understand that it is based on rights. So, it's a rights based approach whereby we are looking at rights of Mother Nature. We are not looking at Mother Nature as an object or as a resource. Because the moment we say resource, that means we are expecting something out of it. We are exploiting in some ways, or we are using it in a way which will give us something. Human resource, they give us something. Human beings work and they give us products, they give us services. But Mother Nature is not to give us any products. She's not here to give us any service. Mother Nature is the reason why we exist. And it's this harmonious existence which is the very, very crux and fundamental of rights of nature. So, with the legal, if we look at it from the legal point of view, law says that every right comes with a corresponding duty. So the right of nature comes with a corresponding duty on all of us as human beings to respect that right and to ensure that there is enforceability of that right. And that is why there is a personification of rights of nature that we see, which is why today, when I say Mother Nature, you see, we are trying to personify nature. And the reason we say Mother Nature is because Mother flourishes, nourishes, protects, and keeps us going. And nature does the same. We don't know when nature really began. We only say that, we somehow know the age of Earth. We somehow try to calculate that. But do we know where really life began? There are a lot of scientific theories where we say, so we don't know. So we come subordinate to Mother Nature. But what has been happening since so called environmental law, environmental consciousness developed was that we saw, and this kind of goes back to Stockholm Declaration of 1972, where we see the fact that we as human beings control Mother Nature. We decide what happens to nature. We decide how much we can extract, how much we do not extract. We decide everything only and only because we have the power to think, we have the power to speak, we have the power to write. We are that creature of Mother Nature who has some extra powers which we are using in the not in the most incorrect and the most immoral ways, because we are not giving back to what we have got, we are extracting from her, and that is equal to exploitation. So now this is one part of it which is more philosophical, you could say. The other thing is, which is more biological. When we talk about human rights, we say that every human being requires should be protected because of the fact that they are all human beings. So now that human nature is what we say is equal in everybody, so every human being is equal. So isn't it the life that we are having equally amongst all of us? Whether we are a tiny creature or we are a huge creature like an elephant or a human being or a tiny one like a mosquito, every life is special. Isn't it that life binds all of us? So, if life binds all of us, then what about that life which resides in the trees, in the plants, in the forests, in the rivers, in the mountains? We say that those are elements, those are entities because they can't speak. So, is it that speech is equal to rights? If that is so, rights of nature advocates argue that the flowing of the river is the speech, is the rhythm. When the bamboo trees dance to the wind, the sound that they create is their speech. So, what is speech? We say that what I'm speaking today is speech. So, then from every corner, when you look at the concept of harmony, harmonious existence, and harmony with the nature, we see that we as human beings have done this stratification, and which is absolutely uh, making no sense when it comes to protecting life. And on the contrary, if Mother Nature doesn't exist, we will not exist. We don't exist, Mother Nature will keep existing. And that's the most interesting part of harmony with nature. Keeping this in mind, Harmony with Nature project has been also introduced by the United Nations as well, which came much later. Now, before I go into the next set of principles, while I explain rights of nature, I want to take you, or I just want to refer to a particular article, which happens to be the landmarking one here, which is by Christopher Stone, which says that should trees have standing? This was written in 1972, and there's a lot of legal, background to it when it was. It was at the time when in the US there was this entire park, those amusement park, which was to be created, as a result of which trees had to be slashed and the mountains would be completely destroyed. So the point was that is humans' entertainment more important than maintaining and sustaining this ecological diversity and the ecology? So anyway, the amusement park happened, all that happened, but keeping that in the background, and of course other legal dimensions in the background, Christopher Stone, who was teaching law at that time, uh, I think in Yale or in Harvard, in one of his property law classes, he said, and he got really angry at one of the questions that the students were asking. He said that, if you go ahead by talking about property in this manner, then tomorrow for you, nature will also be property. And that kind of just struck a bell in his mind, that nature and property, are we controlling? Because property, the basic idea of law and law of property is that we have some interest, title, and we have an ownership over it. So are we the owners of nature? Can we say that we are the owners of nature? So that's how that article began in 1972. And so from there, he said that what if today we personify nature? And that's how I'm coming to my second principle on personification. If I personify, let's say, a tree, will the tree be able to walk up to the court of law in case the rights are violated? The tree cannot. So then, what is this personification about? That is where his title, that should trees have standing? Because in law, we say locus standi principle, which means whether I, as an individual, have any sort of standing or to be before the court. Can I legally stand before the court? Is the question that, the court will always ask if I say I am a victim of something. So can I say that the tree is a victim, and can the tree stand before the court saying that my rights have been violated? So that's where the second principle of guardianship comes in. So he, in his article, and then later on in his book, he says that, it has been a long journey of recognizing human beings also, especially unborn children, women, slaves. There was a time when we did not recognize. So we did not recognize their legal existence. So it's a process through which we expand the notion of rights. And when we expand the notion of rights, we slowly get hold of many other life forms who have rights. So it was a time when we gave rights to women, or rather, we recognized their rights. We gave rights to unborn children. We gave rights to the slaves. So it's time that we also recognize rights of Mother Nature. And when we do this, we cannot say that just because they cannot go to the court, we don't provide right. Let us have a guardian, or let us as human beings be the steward to voice for their rights. Can we not do that? We do that for children. We do that for people who are differently abled or whose mental capacities cannot lead them to voice for their rights. We do that. It's not a new concept. And that's where the principle of moral extensionism is what, he mentioned in his article as well. The principle of moral extensionism. Morally, we are extending from us to you as nature. And that's how we are going ahead. So we are doing away with the model of ego and we are going into eco. And that is shedding the human ego of being at the top, controlling everyone at the bottom, and recognizing a more spherical model where all living creatures, be it the snakes, be it the rivers, the ocean, the water, the humans, all interacting together. Because that is how life is, and that's how the ecosystems work. So that is what is rights of nature for us, where we are going beyond this anthropocentric idea of looking at Mother Nature. It is not how we have shaped the international environmental law regime, which has been mostly replicated in every country. We are looking at ecocentric principles. Ecocentrism is what we are looking at, where we do not really subscribe to the sustainable development principle from the fact of humans point of view. We look at it from a holistic point of view. We look at the larger picture here, and that is rights of nature for us. And there have been these four broad approaches through which rights of nature has been operationalized. And these are mostly, coming from a more legal understanding of rights of nature, because at the end of the day, rights can only be enforced when it is through some laws. Because otherwise, it is, if you state that something is a right, it just is. There is no operationalization of it. So in order to operationalize it, we have seen that various countries have taken different approaches. Now this began with the Cochabamba Declaration that we had in the 1960s, as early as that sorry, in 2010. 2010, we had the Cochabamba Declaration in Bolivia, and it was uh, along with that, simultaneously almost, we had the establishment of GARN, Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, which specifically dedicates the work on rights of nature. Along with this, we saw, as I said, the approaches. The Cochabamba Declaration was a declaration. But we saw Ecuador taking up the rights of nature and putting it down in their constitution, giving it the same status like that of human rights, because it kind of came right after that. So Article 70 onwards, about 7 to 8 articles on the Constitution of Ecuador is on rights of nature. So this is the very beginning of it. Now we have gone ahead, Chile proposed it, all of that. So I'm just telling you the background, really. That is the constitutional approach. The other approach is legislative approach, or the statutory approach, which means making of certain laws, whereby we have the example of the Maori tribes, where in from New Zealand, where through settlement they came to a law or a statute being made which recognized the rights of Mother Nature, rights of the community, the Maori community, and they forge a tripartite relationship with the government to recognize this guardianship, the stewardship, and the rights of nature. Similarly, in Uruguay also we have had another such legislation. This leads to the third approach, which is the indigenous approach or the relational approach, which I just mentioned. So it was through a statute that in New Zealand we had rights of nature operationalized. But before that, also, before we came to the law, also, the operationalization was through recognition of indigenous rights, because indigenous people's rights are very well connected with that of rights of Mother Nature, because they are the greatest protectorate of Mother Nature. Now, So we have seen this indigenous approach, the relational approach, happening in Uruguay as well as in Canada. Now, all of this relates to the fourth and the last approach, which is case laws approach or the judgments approach, which means the judiciary has been fundamental in recognizing rights of nature in many, many cases, including Spain for the Mar Menor case. In Canada, we have had recent interventions in India in some of the uh, in some of the high courts, but that is the provincial courts in India, in Bangladesh, in Nepal, in the Philippines. So it is. So this is that eco jurisprudence monitor that I showed to you earlier is reflective of mostly the judicial approaches. So, because it's difficult to maybe make a statute, it takes a lot of time, but it's not difficult for to have an initiative take place with a judgment coming up. And that is why many, many countries are actually at this point of time, they're trying to invoke the judiciary to recognize rights of nature. And this has happened in Ecuador. Sorry, this has happened in Ecuador and in in so many other countries, and it's an ongoing process whereby earlier we saw Latin America taking the lead, but now we see it has shifted to even east of the world as well. And because of paucity of time, I'm not really delving into some of the case laws, but I'll just mention some of them, like the Belize Barrier Reef case from Belize. We have a decision from this is known as the IBAMA decision, which is also an interesting decision. If it interests you, you can simply Google, and all of this data is available. From India, we have had the Sukna Lake case. We have had the Muhammad Salim decision, Narayan Dutt Bhatt decision. So all of these are case laws that you can refer to, where we see the operationalization of Mother Nature and rights of nature taking place. So now quickly coming into Garn and the work that Garn is doing, as you see, I've raised a question there which says that is it an organization or is it an alliance? So Garn is an alliance. It's not really an organization that way. It's an alliance because it's a platform which seeks to bring together organizations from across the world working on rights of nature. And I'll just share with you quickly, and I hope this would be visible. Just let me know if it is it visible. The website, is it visible? Yes, thank you so much for the confirmation. This is the website of Garn, and as you see, it says that this is a network. This is an alliance where our members come from various different domains, be it science, be it economy, indigenous leaders, authors, spiritual leaders, business leaders, politicians, actors, students. So it's very vast. Everyone who believes in rights of nature can be a member of GARN, either
I'm
through their
sorry.
organization.
Oh, Shuma, when you asked if the site was visible, I thought you were pointing to the URL. Well, we cannot actually see the web page.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
All right.
for the wrong
Okay.
information.
So maybe, okay. Is it visible now? No.
No,
Okay.
we
Let
still see
me
the
just
slide.
go back. I think I have to stop share and then again share. Okay. Yes. Hmm. This,
We
I
see
think
it
this
now.
now.
Yep.
Yes, right. So this is the website that we see of Garn. And as I was mentioning, that our members are all those who believe in the work of rights of nature, whatever I've been telling you for the last, I guess, 10, 12 minutes about rights of nature. Everyone who believes in rights of nature, in recognition of rights of Mother Nature, all of all of them are members of this alliance. And so, as I said, it is not an organization; it's an alliance, and we work in all these different most of the countries, and as you see here, as per the data, recent data, it is 99 plus countries. The Eco Jurisprudence Monitor is also featured here. Now, if you look into, and the reason I wanted to share the website itself, because it is in itself very, very succinct to give you what our objectives are, what our mission is. And this is the mission of GARN, is to uh, reorient human beings, and which is what I began by saying, that our work is to uh, help people develop or regain the self conscience, and to reorient themselves from an exploitative and ultimately self-destructive relationship that we have at the moment with Mother Nature. We are here to honor the deep interrelation of all life forms and contribute to the health and integrity of natural environment. So we work with a system, or we create a system of jurisprudence that treats Mother Nature as a fundamental rights bearing entity and not a property. So all the fundamental principles of rights of nature that I've discussed with you earlier is what the mission of GARN has been for all these 15 plus years that we have been working in across the world. Now, to really, to kind of reflect as to the operationalization and how we work, I will just go back to the slide to tell you that we have a very different approach to the working of GARN as an alliance. As I said, that we are not just an organization. So, unlike an organizational structure, we follow a very democratic structure, which is through the formation of different hubs. And the hubs are the fundamental entities who lead the work of GARN. Because each of these hubs, as you see on this tree, they are the ones who expand the work of GARN and of rights of nature. I represent the Asia Pacific hub. The other hubs are all mentioned here on the diagram that you, on the chart that you have. So GARN has two different types of uh, hubs. One is region specific, regional hubs. The other one is theme specific, thematic hubs. So thematic hubs are legal hub, youth hub, and academic hub. As of now, these are the broad themes on which we work. So as I said, the Eco Jurisprudence Monitor has been developed by the academic hub. It has also been supplanted by the legal hub. So you see that there's a legal hub there, which is mentioned on the very left corner at the bottom. We have the youth hub, which is right above it. And I don't know where I can't see the. Okay, oh yes, yet on the left, at the corner, you see is the academic hub. So, which is to do with any sort of academic intervention on rights of nature. And people who are members of these hubs, they are from across the world. And we work through an absolute virtual medium. We work through Zoom calls, but we occasionally do meet. We do meet for the global office, like the GARN Global entirely. We meet as hubs. We meet as country chapters. We meet as facilitators. We meet as advisory board, all of that. But our primary work is virtual, but that is the beauty of the work. We struggle and we, juggle between different time zones, but that's the beauty, that all of us connect together to the same principle of rights of nature. And this gives us the opportunity to see the work that's happening across the world. So, apart from these thematic hubs, which could be joined by anybody, as I said, anyone from any part of the world, we have these 5 different hubs which largely cover almost the entirety of the world. That is the European hub, African hub, Asia Pacific hub, Latin American hub, and the North American hub. So, Asia Pacific hub and the North American hub, these are the two most recently established hubs. Because, as I said, the work initially was primarily developing in the conception of rights of nature, it was developing mostly in Latin America and Europe, in that part of the world. But now we see that the growth is so much that we have actually been able to establish these two newer hubs, which got established in 2022 only. And I'll shortly come to Asia Pacific Hub. But before going into that, I would like to tell you that the fundamental principles that we discussed earlier forms the very core and crux of Garn, and that is why that's the bark of the tree, where you see the word principles being mentioned. These principles govern the working of Garn. To oversee this working, we have an executive committee, which includes the senior leadership of the movement from across the world. And all of them have been working in this field for a very, very long time. Now, apart from this executive committee, which is more like, I will not say decision making authority because all the hubs are independent and they take their own decisions. Executive committee is more like that, where all the data from across the hubs come in, and then we do strategize how do we go ahead with with the Garn as as an alliance, and how do we go ahead. That's the only job of executive committee. We have an advisory board, and parallel to that, we have the Indigenous Council. They are the roots of Garn because they are the people who are the repository of what we today know as rights of nature. So that's why we have a specific Indigenous Council, because the indigenous, as I said earlier, that indigenous people are the ones who are the protectorate of Mother Nature across the world. So all indigenous peoples, they are a part of the Indigenous Council, and this process is an ongoing process. Membership to any of these hubs or the indigenous council happens on, it's on a rolling basis. We have an option to become a member, and you become a member. There is no fees, nothing that is required. It's just a belief in the principles that Garn follows. That's it. And the other route is Garn assembly, which is everyone across the membership. And without the Garn assembly, we are nothing, because every work that each member does contributes to the rights of nature. And Garn is always indebted to their work. So yearly, we try to have we have one meeting, if not more. If there's any need, we do have more than one. Garn assembly, of course, happens mostly virtually, but we are in a process of having hybrid mechanism as well, if possible. Each of these hubs, mostly in the governance structure, they have three facilitators: communication, membership, and governance. I am the governance facilitator who actually liaises between the global office of Garn, executive committee, and the hub. Membership and outreach is that facilitator who does all the work in gathering people, being attending the meetings, all of that. Communications facilitator is the one who takes forward the work across the hubs, across to the global community, the global leadership, all of that. So this is how we have a structure which is best represented in the form of a tree, because a tree is ever expanding, and it is always rooted to the very edifice, the very core, and the very principles, which is how this has been developed by one of our interns at the global office. This particular diagram that you see. So that is about Garn as an alliance and how we work. We have membership from organizations, from individuals, anyone who wishes to be a part of Garn. There's one more interesting aspect of Garn, something that has been landmarking, and that is setting up of the International Rights of Nature Tribunal. This International Rights of Nature Tribunal is the is that initiative which tells the world that rights of nature is operational. It can be effectuated through laws. It's not utopia. It's not philosophy. It's not principles. It is something which works. Even though the Rights of Nature Tribunal does not have any legal binding, but it is that which gets people from certain countries where, the on a particular subject matter, the Rights of Nature Tribunal takes place. Like you see, the it one in 2024 was in New York on fossil fuels. We have had other rights of nature tribunals which take place in person, which are about ocean rights or rights of certain animals. So this comes from the community. When the community, or certain community, they face some sort of problem, they feel that they require an intervention of the tribunal. They know that nobody will really listen to them from the point of view of rights of nature, from the point of view of protecting Mother Nature. So, rights of nature tribunal, handhold, which is the brainchild of Garn, comes into picture and comes into their, you could say, rescue, you could say their help, their succor. That is the power of rights of nature tribunal. The work that we do is all on the rights of nature is all recorded online on the YouTube platform itself of GARN, of Global Rights of Nature, Global Rights of Nature channel itself. So anyone who wishes to go there and look into any of the tribunals, it's all there. The ones who are sitting on the panels, the ones who are arguing, they are they are our torchbearers of the fact, as I said, that rights of nature is a legal tenet which can and which is working. So that is about Garn, that is about the that's about rights of nature. Now, shortly, I will go into the Asia Pacific Hub, which is the last part of what I want to discuss. And then I will briefly open up for discussion for any sort of questions that might come. So, as I said, that this is the newest hub, Asia Pacific Hub. From the name itself, you would understand that we work as Asia Pacific Hub from almost Iran to Russia and China, which is more than half of the entire world. And we are very proud that our membership actually is from Iran to Russia and China. We have members from Turkey, we have members from Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, India, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, from the Oceania region, from Australia, New Zealand, Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines. It's that huge, but we have members from all of these countries, at least one member from each country that represents Asia Pacific region. This was established in Siena in 2022. These are some of the photographs that you see. The photograph in the middle is the, you could say, iconic photograph, because that is where we formed the Asia Pacific Hub, and these were the people who formed the Asia Pacific Hub. If you see the one with the red sari, that's me there, who was a part of it. There's another member who is sitting with the black clothes. She is the other facilitator with me. Her name is Candy. She's from the Philippines, and we have another member from South Korea who is our facilitator. So these are the three of us who are facilitators from three different countries, three different time zones. We are managing, doing outreach, collaboration, dialogue across the Asia Pacific region. We have had in person outreach programs in Nepal, in Sri Lanka, in the Philippines. And I'll quickly just go over the work that we have done. In fact, the first in person gathering of the hub happened in 2025. We were formed, as I said, in 2022. The first in person meeting of all the hub members happened in 2025. I will not say all the hub members, at least selected ones. This was the idea, this was the banner, you could say, where we were interconnecting, and we were interconnecting the sporadic movements across the Asia Pacific region. In Siena, this is what we realized, that a lot of work is happening in Asia Pacific region, but there's no concerted effort. There is no one platform where we all come together, talk about it. For example, this festival itself, all of us are working on different fields, which binds us to the very vision of this festival. We would not have ever known had we not had a festival like this. So this is that kind of a platform. The Asia Pacific Hub is that kind of a platform where everyone working in some ways on rights of nature comes to us, and we on a regular basis we meet them. In this in-person meeting, we had 19 participants from 9 different countries, and as you see the map, which denotes from where all we had members coming to attend this gathering. These are just some of the photographs of that gathering that we had. We have people from Nepal, from India, from Philippines. So as I mentioned, all of them were there, from Bhutan, all these countries. We actually adopted the declaration called the Mount Puro Declaration, which has become the guiding factor for the Asia Pacific Hub. On the right of this, on the slide, on this, you see the commitments that we have promise to ourselves, which is in line with the guiding principles of GARN and the guiding principles of rights of Declaration on Rights of Mother Earth, the Cochabamba Declaration that I mentioned earlier, which is to protect and honor rights of Mother Nature, uphold the sanctity of rights of Mother Nature, culturally vibrant and inclusive movement, is what we subscribe to. We will collaborate with communities, institutions, and civic movements, strengthen the regional solidarity and advocacy through evidence-based action, expand the hub's outreach and membership across Asia Pacific, and try to gather some momentum so that we can learn from each other. This is also one very important thing about GARN. Because we are an alliance, we actually learn from experiences from each other. So the experiences of Mar Menor was used by the Philippines. Experience of the Philippines in terms of developing some modules, like educational modules, is now being taken up in Australia and New Zealand. So because we're an alliance, we work in that manner that we get to learn from each other. This is again not a very updated data, as I said, but this kind of gives you a broad, rough picture of the countries from where we have members. This is not very updated. This, but this tells you about the different countries and the vast region that we are catering to as Asia Pacific Hub. So these were this I will not really go into it. These were the work, all the whatever we said to ourselves, the commitments that we had to ourselves in the Mount Pro Declaration. But I'll now quickly go into the hub activities that we have done. Some of them, we have started a webinar series that happens bi-monthly, which will continue till 2027. You're more than welcome to reach out to us and attend any of these webinar series. These are to bring people who are working at the grassroots level on rights of nature across Asia Pacific, so that we can create a database of people working in the Asia Pacific region. Uh, we have we of course, on a regular basis, we have hub meetings. We are in some sort of collaborative activities that are there on the cards right now. We are doing a judgments rewriting initiative. We are doing this, as I said earlier, we're developing modules, teaching modules for students of schools, colleges, and universities, so that they can refer to these handy materials and get oriented to rights of nature, start and try and protect rights of Mother Nature, at least subscribe to the principle of Mother Nature. We have had this eco-legal personhood bill, which was placed in South Korea. So we had one of them speak on that in the webinar series that we had. We had a recent one in April as well. during the 10th anniversary of the Conference of People for Earth, which was held in 2025. We did collaborate. The facilitator, Gina, she presented her activities there. So, we are constantly doing innovative work that makes sense. Another example of that is collaborating for Justice Makers Mela, which happened in Jaipur in India last year. So within that, we had a session called Courts of the Living, which is on this integrated framework and harmonious existence of Mother Nature. So, how does a court of living really look like? So, it was more of an experiential work that we collaborated for. We are collaborating for some sort of cultural engagements on rights of nature. So, our work is very, very varied. It's not only activism. It's not just scholarly. It's not about doing only very, very big landmarking things. It is about doing things which are meaningful. We do our work is with with an approach where we take small steps. We give ourselves a lot of time so that we see a larger paradigm shift happening. So that's about Garn, that's about the rights of nature work that we do. And it's not that we are not it's not that there's any competition. We are not competing. We are just an alliance who is open to having many, many more organizations and people coming together and helping us take this movement forward. So, Jared will be sharing the links of the Eco-Jurisprudence Monitor, couple of my articles on rights of nature, which discusses all of this that I have been telling you about. He will also be sharing with you a couple of links which will help you to navigate through Garn as well. So that's it from my side, and thank you so much for giving this very, very important space to Garn. And I'm so happy that I could join and be a part of this. And uh, it's actually quite emotional because uh, to give a space to somebody else takes a lot. And especially to an initiative like this, which most of the time people frown upon, people question, and people say that, do you mean to say that even the mosquito there who is biting you has rights? So it's very, very important that people like you support us. It's not about that one mosquito. It's not about that one tree which is being maybe slashed because it's no longer for some reason. But it is a problem if we are committing an offense, if we are slashing away Mother Nature just because we as human beings want to, I don't know, achieve what kind of development. I don't see any point. So thank you so much for giving us this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Shumava. That was great. Thank you for the information and what a wonderful invitation to bring people into collaboration with Garn. Um, Before I close the session, I just would like to remind everybody who joined, if you have been using the chat and made any connections and would like to stay in contact with someone, now would be a good time to get their contact information before we close this room. There's also a connection space which you can get to through the lobby, which is an open space to talk to people more and connect. So you could plan to meet somebody there. And Shumaba, I believe, plans on stopping in herself after this talk, so you would be able to connect more with her there as well. I'm going to put into the chat now the links that Shumaba referenced, so you can see those. And down below them, there are some links just from Rev 21 with future events and such. I'm putting those in separately so that you can keep those two lists distinct. Um, all right. With that, I hope that everybody enjoys their future sessions and continues to make great contacts and learn throughout the day. And thank you once again, Shumaba, for all that you shared.
Thank you so much. Thank you.